How much is your personal injury case actually worth? Well, most people kind of have no idea, and the insurance companies would love to keep it that way. So every case is different, and every case depends on the facts and circumstances. So this video is not legal advice, it's just to talk about some of the major factors that the insurance companies look at and potentially a jury could look at to determine the value of a case. Now, one factor is who's at fault. This is the biggest driver of value because if the other person is not at fault, then you have no case against them. So what you look at is how strong is the evidence showing the other person's at fault. If you will use a simple auto accident case, if you've got two people that were in a crash in an intersection and both people say, I had a green light, and there's no witnesses, no video, nothing like that, it's going to be a little difficult to demonstrate fault without maybe hiring some experts or doing a pretty in-depth analysis. Now, on the flip side, if there's an auto accident where someone rear-ended the other person and the person in the back not only got a ticket, but showed up in a police report as the person who's at fault, well, that's pretty much locked up. We know who's at fault, so the liability part of it is strong. So when you have strong liability, then you can move over and talk to the damages part. Now, one of the factors for issue number 2, damages, happens to be documentation. And so what that is if something is not documented, the insurance company is pretty much going to pretend it doesn't exist. So when there's an injury, the medical records are important, the medical bills are important, photographs are important, videos, witness statements, all of those things are very important. So when you're building your case, you've got this documentation you can present to the insurance adjuster and say, here, don't take my word for it, look at all this documentation I have. And that's the kind of stuff they understand. Because if you just tell an insurance adjuster, hey, the other person's at fault, well, they may or may not believe you. And if you say, hey, look, I was really injured and I have a lot of pain and suffering, what are they going to tell you? They're going to say, well, show me the documentation, because they sort of have the mentality that everybody lies. And so when you have documentation that can support someone's position, it makes it real as opposed to just a conversation. So the third factor is the impact on your life. It's not just the injury, it's things that the injury caused. For instance, missed work, maybe time with family, friends, maybe you weren't able to do your hobbies that you used to do. You can show things like, hey, I went to the gym 4 times a week. Here's all my check-ins. Now I'm not going to the gym. Hey, I was going to take this trip. I had to cancel the trip. Hey, I used to play with my kids all the time. Now I can't even lift them up. You want to be able to demonstrate that this injury caused an interference to your own life. And then factor 4 is one of the more annoying factors out there. It's the insurance policy limits. And the problem with insurance policy limits is it often caps how much you can recover, even if you deserve more. And let's go back to that rear end collision we talked about earlier. Somebody's 100% at fault, so we've got the liability part down. We've got injuries, and let's say the case is worth $100,000. Well, the person that caused the injury only has $25,000 of insurance. They don't have any huge assets. So what happens? Well, even if you can prove your case is worth $100,000, even if you get a verdict for $100,000 or even $1 million, it still doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, you're probably only going to be able to collect that $25,000 policy. And so this is one of the reasons, while we're talking about auto, that it doesn't hurt to have uninsured and underinsured motorist policy on your own insurance policy. So that way, if somebody does cause $100,000 in damages, but they've only got a $25,000 policy, then you can go collect what they owe you from your own policy to kind of make up the shortfall. And the fifth component has to do with, the attorney. If you've got a small case, no attorney, it might not be a big deal because your case doesn't have a big value anyway. But if you've got a significant case and you have no attorney, but the insurance company not only has their well-trained adjusters, but they've also got their team of attorneys working against you, well, they're going to love that, because they're going to feel they're going to be able to take advantage of you because you don't have a lawyer on your side. So they're going to value your case less than if you did have a lawyer. Now, let's say you hire a lawyer, Well, a lot of times the insurance companies will look at, okay, who's that lawyer they hired? Is that lawyer in some giant mill that brings in a ton of cases, settles them all quickly for low amounts, and then moves on to the next one? Or is this one of those lawyers that kind of grabs onto a case like a dog on a bone and fights, where it's going to be a potentially higher valued case? Now, if you want a personalized assessment of what your case is actually worth, given your own personal facts, treatment, and all of those things, you probably want to contact a personal injury lawyer near you. Most personal injury lawyers are going to talk to you for free with that initial consultation. If you happen to live in Nevada, where I practice law, and would like an idea about the value of your case, feel free to reach out. I do free consultations. It's no pressure, no obligation, just answers.